welcome to No Broken Legs. I am Evan Belfiore. It is Super Bowl weekend. There's so many bets to make. Jimmy Champ's on the phone. We got to cover it all. Jimmy, how the hell are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You know, whatever you fancy, you can dance with it for the Super Bowl, man.
Yeah,
So
pretty much everything's on the table for betting purposes. You know how they have the scroll bar at the top of the betting on most of the sites that have like all the individual categories for
yeah,
bets? Like it just scrolls forever for the
it's
Super Bowl. It's
you
pretty funny.
cannot, yeah, you cannot get to the end of it. It just keeps going.
Well, before we get to the Super Bowl, we should very briefly talk about the disaster that continues to be the Cleveland Browns. Myles Garret made, I don't know what to call his Radio Row interviews. They were kind of sad, just in general. What are your thoughts on this whole thing, Jimmy?
I was surprised by how surprised Cleveland media, the Cleveland Browns, and Cleveland Browns fans seemed to be by this. It was weird to me. You know, clearly Miles took offense to the Browns organization making the statement about, they were controlling the trajectory of his career, basically Cleveland to Canton. So clearly he didn't like that, but Miles has been only a couple times in his career. Miles has been, you know, outspoken about things going on like within the organization. I mean, we know he disliked Joe Woods as much as we dislike Joe Woods. And, and there's always going to be that situation from, for those of you that don't know, you know, the Browns took a very, very bad loss to the New England Patriots. And the defensive game plan and the offensive game plan were both horrible. And Miles and Baker basically fought over who Kevin Stefanski should be spending Monday with. And that was kind of started the rift in their relationship. But those are a few of the only times Miles was ever critical of the organization. But when they made the statement that we're going to share the plans, with Myles Garret, there is no plan that is good for the Cleveland Browns right now. There is none.
I would say that he did not find their case compelling.
No, I mean if you take Miles out of the equation, is there a star player? I guess you'd say Denzel, and Denzel is very much injury prone at this point in his career. Nick Chubb is a shadow of what he was. So there is no clear path to success. And Myles Garret probably knows, like a lot of people know, that Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are not the answer in the AFC North to lead the Browns to instant prosperity.
Probably not.
The roster is old and bad and young and bad at the same time. You've got offensive linemen. Who knows if they're going to play another snap as Cleveland Browns. Like, this is going to be a really bad 3 to 5 years probably for the Cleveland Browns. And I don't blame Myles Garret for wanting to leave. Like, you can't blame him, but I truthfully was just shocked by how surprised people were. Like, that's the thing that was weirdest to me.
I don't know, man. This team's going to be a mess. They're not good. They have an old roster. Their cap situation's a disaster. And they can't even trade Miles because it's like a $50 million cap hit unless they wait till after June, which means waiting until after the draft, which, I don't know, maybe you can get a first in 26 and a first in 27.
Yeah.
But like, it's not... like, if you trade him, you're just creating a problem because now you definitely need 2 pass rushers now, not just 1. And
right.
You haven't solved any of your other problems, so you're sort of just the hole's just getting deeper.
I mean, hopefully this forces them to draft Abdul Carter. Not that I think Abdul Carter is Myles Garret, but you're clearly going to need a pass rusher, because and I think a lot of people were just like, man, Myles Garret loves the city of Cleveland. Well, most people will tend to learn to like or love the place that they work. And he does genuinely seem to have a place in his heart for Cleveland. But that, loving the place the city where you work and having individual accomplishments does not override the fact that losing sucks.
Well, I'm sure he loves it here. He can get away with being inconsistent in big games.
Yep.
He can disappear for long stretches of time.
Yep.
He can almost kill somebody and nobody's going to hold it against him. He gets
Yep.
special treatment. I mean, there's every reason for him to like being in Cleveland, and he gets paid a ton of money. He's an excellent player. He's a Hall of Fame player, but he's been given a lot of leeway, and I can understand fans on one hand being like, yeah, I'd want to play for a title too, and this team's a disaster. And then on the other hand, I can understand fans being like, this is kind of a stab in the back.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's all a shitstorm, man. They're going to be bad. They've got this old roster. And I mean, even if they do trade him for picks, do you trust Andrew Berry to pick the right players?
No.
Yeah, I think there it is right there. That's it. Like, he continually seems to not do his job very well, and there's just no repercussions.
Hey, he's really bad at drafting. He's even worse at making free agent signings. But hey, at least we extended him last year. So.
And D. Podesta's still there, so his track record is just impeccable.
Yeah.
It's going to be bad. It's going to be some lean years coming up, but that's all right. We don't have to worry about that right now because the Super Bowl's tomorrow, and the Philadelphia Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs are going to play some football. The Chiefs, I was waiting for it to happen. It happened in between me looking at this earlier, but the line has moved to 1. The Kansas City Chiefs are favored by 1. The money line is -15 Kansas City, -105 Philly, and the over-under sits at 48.5. I guess my first question, Jimmy, is: are you surprised the line moved from 1.5 to 1?
No.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of money. A lot of people are really liking Philadelphia in this game.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's that people really like Philadelphia or people are just really hoping the Chiefs lose the game.
There's probably a lot of that too.
But yeah, it's reflecting in the betting patterns.
Yeah, I didn't bet this at 1.5 because once I saw them move the juice on the Eagles to -115, I was like, oh, that's going to move to 1. Like, there's no reason to pounce on it at 1.5.
No, not when it was going to move to 1.
There's a ton of bets to make. I don't even know where to begin on it. I guess what we should do is think about this in terms of what's going to happen in the game. How are these two teams going to look to attack each other? What are they going to try to take away? What are they going to try to do? So let's just start with when the Kansas City Chiefs have the ball and the Philadelphia Eagles are playing defense. What do the Chiefs want to do?
I think the Chiefs want to do what's comfortable for them right now, which has worked, which is the choice option routes for Travis Kelce, jamming Kareem Hunt and Pacheco through the line, and jet sweeps to the rookie wide receiver.
I think the jet sweeps or some form of trick running play are going to be necessary because I don't think this Eagles defensive front is going to allow Pacheco and Hunt to get any sort of yardage going. Because those guys like to live with 4 to 6 yard rushes and just keep them ahead of the chains, keep the chains moving. I don't think they're going to be able to get a lot of that. So I think they're going to have to do a lot of short passing, like you said, with Kelce and the choice routes, just quick stuff to Hopkins and I'm totally blanking on who their other receiver is. Xavier Woods, the rookie. I think they're going to keep it short and try and work their way down the field and then look to take, 4 or 5 shots over the course of the game downfield when the Eagles maybe cheat up. But I think that's what they're going to have to do because I don't think the Chiefs are going to have a choice. I think they're just going to tell Mahomes, we're not going to let you throw deep and we're not going to let you run the ball. And I think the Eagles can do it.
Yeah, I think their defense is made for it. I think they are going to try to, I think like the rest of the league and the media and everyone else, I think the Eagles are going to believe that this Chiefs team is not capable of beating them by throwing the ball long. So I think they are going to try to entice Mahomes to stay in the pocket and throw deep shots down the field.
Yeah. Do you think that Eagles defensive front can replicate a little bit what Tampa Bay did to Kansas City? What is that, 4 or 5 years ago, where they were just able to constantly get pressure and the Chiefs never really got their offense going in that game. Do you think the Eagles are capable of that?
Yeah, I mean the Eagles have the guys to do it. They have the scheme to do it, and I don't know if they'll succeed or fail, but that's the game plan, right? I mean that's the game plan. But you've also had, and then it'll be the chess match off of that because Mahomes has evolved to not having any problem with the scrambling. But I also believe this Eagles defense, I believe they're fully willing to take a couple 15-yard penalties early to let Mahomes know, dude, you better stay in the pocket. I fully believe that will be part of their game plan. Will be if he is near the line of scrimmage and he fakes, if he does his air pump fake or looks like he might slide, hit him hard. I fully believe that will be part of their game plan because I think the Eagles believe they can win the game if they can keep Patrick Mahomes in the pocket.
Yeah, you definitely don't want him to start running around. That seems to be where he really eats in these situations. We've both had a lot of success with Mahomes over rushing yards, and over rushing attempts has also been a popular bet lately with people because you get those kneel downs at the end of the half and the quarter. So, maybe you steal a cheap attempt here or there.
Yeah.
When the Eagles have the ball, obviously they've been very successful running the football, and the Chiefs' primary goal is going to not let Saquon Barkley beat them, in my opinion. Do you share that opinion?
I think that's what the Chiefs are going to try to do. I'm not sure. I mean, if there's a defensive coordinator in the league that can scheme away Saquon's success, it will be Spags.
Yeah.
I just don't know if that defense is, if they're fully ready to stop Saquon Barkley 40 times in a game. I think the Eagles are just going to run the ball over and over again. I imagine the plan will be early for Jalen Hurts to try to take a couple deep shots just to let them know, yeah, we're willing to do this if we have to. So I think you're going to see some max protect, like 1 or 2 guy routes where he's just throwing. I know he's down there somewhere balls to A.J. Brown. I believe that will be the game plan. But I think the Eagles do not believe even the Chiefs defense can stop their running attack. And I don't know if I believe it either. I mean, they've got a great thing going. Saquon looked great. And as a unit, it feels like everyone except for A.J. Brown is completely bought in on that as being the successful way for them to win games. And, Devonta Smith has said, I'll block 40 times on Sunday if it means I get a Super Bowl ring. Yeah. So, I think as a group, they've bought in to, teams tend to get away from the run against the Chiefs because the Chiefs just keep scoring points. Whether it's field goals or touchdowns, they get the ball and they score points. And teams have to get away from the run. I don't think the Eagles will get away from the run, mostly because
it's their identity.
It's their identity, and when other teams have to rely on big pass plays for dynamic plays, and the Eagles don't have to do that. Like Saquon can turn, a halfback stretch play into a 50-yard gain. So,
yeah, totally agree. What are some of the prop bets you're liking when you look at this? I have a number here that I wrote down because of how I think the game's going to go. You sort of just alluded it to the deep passes to A.J. Brown. I think both teams are going to take shots, so I think big play potential is high here. Both quarterbacks have an over-under of 34.5 for longest passing completion. I wouldn't be surprised if both of those hit.
Yeah, I would think they would both hit. I think on the Chiefs side, I love all of the overs, all of the standard overs for Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes is going to run the ball in the end zone for a touchdown. So if you can get it at one, if you can find it at one instead of one and at one plus or 1.5, like Mahomes is going to get a touchdown. I believe Saquon is going to get a touchdown, and Jalen Hurts is going to rush for a touchdown. And I actually I like the unders on the passing side for both teams.
Oh, that's interesting. I like the overs on both sides for each team. I think they're going to have to throw the ball. That's just what I think. I think Mahomes is going to have a lot of attempts, a lot of completions. I don't know if he's necessarily going to get to his yardage marks because even though they score, a lot of these drives seem to take a lot of time off the clock. And I can really see Andy Reid looking to try to bleed maybe a little time more than he would normally do to make that 5-minute drive a 6-minute drive just to help his defense out. Because that Eagles team is, like you said, they're going to try to run the ball. They're going to make the Chiefs stop them. And I think the Chiefs are going to sell out to stop it. And then it's just a question of, is Jalen Hurts going to be able to make the plays? I actually think he's probably going to be pretty good like he was in the last Super Bowl. He seems to rise to these moments despite what I've thought of him as a quarterback over the years. He's really showed up in these big games, and that fucking matters, man. Like, we've seen Jared Goff be shitty in these games, and we've seen Jimmy Garoppolo be shitty in these games. And like, there's a reason, like, you need a guy who's not going to be afraid, and the moment's not too big for him. And that's a huge deal.
Yeah, and then also, you know, one thing we always like in the Super Bowl, like, weird stuff happens in the Super Bowl. Man, like, scroll down through some of those pass catchers for both teams and find somebody whose name you don't even know that has crazy odds and, like, throw $10 at it. Because somebody's going to score a touchdown that nobody was expecting, you know. That's just been kind of the case of the Super Bowl. But, yeah, I think early, like in the first two drives, I think both teams are going to try to use the pass to set up the run. But I think as this game goes on, both of these teams' identity this year has been winning the game by moving the sticks, running the football. And I think they're both going to be motivated and dedicated to trying it. So I definitely think
they'll try.
To be a running game.
And if they try, I think that leads to some unders, which is why I like the attempts and completions for Mahomes, but not the yardage.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
I think there's going to be a limited number of possessions, and even though I say that, I still like the over because I think Kansas City's getting to 30, and I don't see how Philly's not getting to 20.
Yeah.
A couple other bets that I really like. Even money, over 2.5 fourth down conversions.
Really?
Yeah, even money, over 2.5.
That's I
feel like these teams are going to be fighting for every inch, and you're going to get a lot of fourth down attempts and a lot of fourth down conversions. Will there be a 2-point conversion attempted, -105? Will there be a successful 2-point conversion, +210? I like both of those as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you could see multiple 2-point conversions in this game.
Yeah, I just think somebody's going to have to kick a field goal early, and that's going to somehow get them behind in points. I mean, in general, we didn't talk about who we like in the game. Who do you like in the game?
I have been battling back and forth with this. I am going to take the Eagles to win this game.
Wow.
I think it is going to be very close. And while it is not their fault at all, I think part of the reason, you know, these Super Bowls the Chiefs have won they've been workmanlike. You know, I mean, they've came back from all 4 of the Super Bowls they've played in, they've been down 10 plus points. They've won 3 of those games, which is incredible.
Yeah, it's kind of silly.
But with everything, with not being able to breathe without hearing about how you are now the villains of the NFL, how 138 different officials are colluding to make sure you win games, and people kind of asking you out-of-pocket questions about the President of the United States, I think it's just too much. I think the weight of the three-peat along with all of this is going to be too much. And I think if the Eagles get up in this game 10 plus points, the Chiefs will not be able to come back. This is a game the Chiefs are going to have to. Normally, the Chiefs come out, they're a little slow to start. They kick a couple field goals, figure out what they want to do, and get going. I don't think they can do that in this game. I think the Chiefs have to score touchdowns early, and I don't think the Eagles' defense is going to allow it.
Wow, you really think that Eagles defense is going to show up and really slow down that Kansas City attack?
Yeah.
I'm on the other side of this. I think Kansas City is going to win fairly comfortably.
Wow.
I think that they have been saving plays for this moment. You're going to see 2 or 3 plays that are counters to things that are typically what they run. They did it last week against Buffalo, or 2 weeks ago against Buffalo, where they ran that sort of, three look, and then all of a sudden Mahomes is holding onto the football, something he's never done before in that situation.
Yeah.
I just think they've been playing for this all year. They're set up for it, and there's a little bit of the, they've been holding back all year, and now they can just let loose. I think they're better than everybody. I think they're suffering from LeBron fatigue. I think there's a lot of people that want to see them lose, and it's sort of being willed into existence that they're going to lose, and it just seems like this Chiefs team is really, really good. It just seems like they're really good, and they got an answer for everything. And as usual, like, it's going to be the fourth quarter, and it's going to be a close game, and you're going to look at Jalen Hurts, and you're going to look at Patrick Mahomes, and you're going to want your money on Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that part's absolutely true.
But I don't think I think the Chiefs are going to come out and score on their first 2 or 3 drives. I think they're going to do what they did against Buffalo and just march their way down. When they need a score, when they want to score, they're just going to march right down the field.
Yeah, I think it's very possible. I also think this is the best defense the Chiefs have played against in 2 months.
Yeah.
So I think there will be a little adjustment of, wait a minute, Travis isn't wide open by 10 yards. What the hell? Well,
I also think there's something to the fact that I think the Chiefs are more battle tested. I think they faced more good teams this year, and no offense to Washington, but that team really didn't stand much of a chance against the Eagles with some of their injuries on the defensive side of the football. Yeah. And we've seen many times before where the team with the easier path that looks better, when you get into the big game, the team that has more proven track record, but maybe not the big point margin, comes out on top.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think any of the media attention bothers them. I think they're maybe a little offended by it. Like, fuck you. Like, we're going to win 3 Super Bowls in a row, and you're all saying it's because of the fucking refs. Like, this is nonsense. And I think that's part of it. It just feels to me like a lot of the anti-Chiefs talk is like when people were talking up Toronto and Atlanta against LeBron in the 2010s. And how many times did we get great lines on Cavs to sweep or win in 5 because most people thought it was going to be a 6 or 7 game series, or God forbid the Hawks win. Yeah. And I just think we're doing that now. I think we're undervaluing the Chiefs. I think people have bought into the whole ref conspiracy because of there's something called the illusory effect, where if you hear something a whole bunch of times, even if you know it's false, you'll believe it's true. And I think we've reached that point with the Chiefs. Like, it's just all everybody's talking about. And when Adam Schefter's sharing tweets with conspiratorial stuff like that, everybody's in on it because somebody told him, hey, you got to get in on this. Yeah. We need those clicks, man. Get the cheap heat. I think that's why the odds have shifted. Everybody seems to just be downplaying how good this Kansas City team is. Like, we've seen them do it every year. Like, this is the year they're supposed to be good. The last 2 years were the years they were supposed to be rebuilding. Yeah. Yeah. Which is scary to think about.
Yeah, I mean, and it's good to know, we were not. I feel good knowing we were right early in the season when we said it really doesn't matter. This Chiefs team is the best team in the NFL.
Yeah, they
Like
just keep showing it.
they do. But I do think if what you think is what they're able to do, then they can win the game. But I agree, they will have to score early. They're going to have to score touchdowns early. I believe that. I think they'll have to score touchdowns early, and then then it will probably set into everybody that why do we hate this team so much? Like, they're so good. Why do we hate them so much? They've got like best players in the league at multiple positions. Why do we hate this team so much?
There is also a little contrarian in me where I keep hearing everybody talk about how talented this Philadelphia Eagles team is. These are the same people that told me the Browns had a really talented roster.
Oh, come on.
They're the same
now.
people who told me that the Jets had a really talented roster.
Come on,
now. I don't trust these people to tell me what is and is not talent.
Ooh.
I just don't. They play up everything. Their goal is to play this up and make it look like a close game, which I mean, I think it'll be a relatively close game. I don't think Kansas City's going to blow them out or anything, but I think Kansas City's going to be up for most of this game.
Wow.
I think they're going to be fine. And I still have the thing of betting on the Chiefs of even if they're down in the fourth quarter by 10 points, there's still a 50-50 bet to win.
Yeah.
It's just incredible how good they are when they're down in the fourth quarter. They just know what to do.
Yeah.
Well, that's it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, what other bets you have out there? Do you have any of the fun bets?
No, I haven't really messed with it. Haven't really looked at it. I've been so intrigued at looking at the individual matchups and options in this game that it's like it's just where the focus has been.
Yeah. Yeah, I just keep looking at what sort of easy layup bets seem to be out there because there's always inefficiencies, and I think the 2-point conversions and inefficiency, the fourth down, those just feel like the odds should be a lot lower. So I feel like you're getting good action there, and I like anything you can find. I can't find it now, but there was I saw a 60-yard plus pass. Yes, was plus 550. Like I like that as a long shot bet. I love the overs. 35-yard pass for both of those quarterbacks is probably going to happen because they're going to take their shots.
Yeah. I like the DraftKings is still running back the very good odds on the 1+ score every quarter, which I really like that.
Oh yeah,
bet.
You did really well with that this year, and the big parlay bet you made, that was awesome.
Yeah, and I think the offenses will be able to put points on the board, even though these might be the two best defenses in the NFL.
Yeah, but we've seen the last couple of years the best defenses don't seem to be able to stop the best offenses.
No, they do not.
Who do you think's the MVP then?
I think it's Saquon or Patrick Mahomes, depending on the winner.
Yeah. Although I like some of the juice you can get on Jalen. He's more than plus 300. So again, if they sell out to stop Saquon and they make Jalen Hurts be great, he's going to win the MVP because that's just what's going to happen. He'll have the numbers.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, shit, man, that's it. That's the Super Bowl. We're not going to be able to watch it this year because you're in Chicago cheering on the cheer squad team, man.
Yes. Emma's World Elite Gym is here in Schaumburg, Illinois, just outside of Chicago, doing a little bit of cheerleading this weekend. So it's not the ideal weekend for it, but we got to support our kids, man.
Absolutely. Well, the Super Bowl is Sunday. We won't get to watch it together, but we'll definitely be texting about it. It'll be a lot of fun. And it was great to talk some football and talk some bets.
Always, brother, man. No place I'd rather be.
And I'd like to thank all of you for listening. We hope you enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday, however you may enjoy the game. Or maybe, if you listen to this podcast and don't like football, that's weird. But, I mean, enjoy not watching the game. For Jimmy Champ, I'm Evan Belfiore. Thank you for listening to No Broken Legs.